Hi guys, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Min Patel to this chat. For those of you that don't know Min, he played Test cricket for England. He's played well over 200 first-class games for Kent and has 590 first-class wickets. Okay, he's currently or has been involved with the Kent second 11 coaching team and has actually brought through players like Zach Crawley and Ollie Robinson. He's head of the Kent talent pathway and has been involved with the England under 19. So welcome to Min.
Hi, Anish.
Hi mate, how you doing? Absolutely brilliant to have you on here talking to us a little bit about indoor and your experiences. When did you first get involved in indoor, and who did you play for?
Back in mid 80s, I guess, maybe I was 15, 16. There was a really good centre up in Dartford, not far from where I live, and ended up playing in the national competitions for Dartford All Blacks, I think they were called at the time. So I loved it. Well, I loved all parts of cricket, so that just gave another avenue of playing cricket a bit in an indoor environment. But there were some really good skills that I developed, I think, out of that.
And how did you get into it? Is it your parents that took you to a centre or friends?
I genuinely can't tell. It's so long ago, Anish. I mean, I'm a pretty old dude now, so that's a long time ago. I can't remember. I know a lot of my friends at school who were king cricketers. We all played together in the same team pretty much. So I think it was just a thing that a load of us did, and maybe 1 or 2 nights a week.
Cool. And in terms of, obviously back then you played in the nationals, do you remember who the top players were that were playing, or the top sides at the time? I know it was a while ago.
No, I genuinely can't. I remember we travelled a fair bit as you got down in the competition. I think we went up to Manchester and we went to maybe even Wolverhampton and places. So I remember we got about a little bit once you progressed deep into a competition. I can't, for the life of me, can't tell you who the biggest teams were or who the best players were at the time. I was a young lad who loved it. I actually was wicket keeping, ironically. So I used to keep and then come and bowl my bit, but then go back to wicket keeping.
Yeah, I remember Dartford, looking at the history books, were quite a successful side, actually, as were Rochdale and a few of the others.
That's where we were, probably Rochdale, not Manchester.
Yeah, Stumps Birmingham, they were quite a good side. I mean, I found a document which said that the outdoor England side actually played against the indoor side. So the likes of Gats and John Embry and De Freitas actually played against the indoor side back in that time. So it was quite popular back then. One thing, obviously, I wanted to ask you about, obviously, you mentioned you kept a bit, you kept mostly, and then you bowled you a couple of overs of spin. What kind of things for you personally do you think were skills that were kind of between both transferable, from the indoor game to your outdoor game?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think definitely you learn to be more, you anticipate stuff more, you try and reshape your shots, where they're going to try and hit it, especially if you're one of the close fielders. It helps your ball handling and your skills when you're throwing at the stumps, because they run out opportunities all the time. So awareness, so speed, awareness, anticipation, really critical stuff in terms of being a better fielder for your outdoor game, and obviously ball handling and catching.
Yeah, and bowling plans, I guess, are quite important. It might be slightly different lines and lengths, but there's still a plan and you have to execute.
Absolutely, yeah. You want to, in an ideal world, you want to be able to stack one side of the cage with fielders and try and stick to that plan. So there's some thinking involved in it, but it's also, it's got some nuances that aren't transferable, but actually of the stuff that is, we've just covered it there, I think.
Brilliant. And so I saw an interview kind of thing, or a video where you actually gave Lukeholmen his 4-day cap for England under 19s outdoors. Well, Luke played, I think it was the year before he played for the 19s outdoor side. He played for our England under 21s indoors, and he went to Dubai to a World Cup there. So it was more a question because a lot of the guys that are currently playing know Luke and are following what he's doing up at Middlesex. How far do you kind of see him going in his career? Obviously, he had a very good season last year.
Yeah, Luke's actually a supremely talented cricketer. A good leg spin bowler who's got some good variations. He can hit it as hard and as far as anyone his age. And last year, certainly, there's a marked improvement in his physicality and therefore his fielding. Look, at Canterbury in a T20 game, he bowled, batted and fielded outstandingly. Luke's got some serious white ball skills currently, and hopefully he can get a chance potentially to start showing some red ball skills for Middlesex. But he's got a great future in the game because he's three-dimensional.
Yeah, I mean, when he's allowed to play a couple of games a year kind of thing for indoor at the minute, during the off season, and he just comes and he's tremendous. He dominates. I mean, hardly with that yellow ball as well. the bounce and the spin that he gets, he's almost unplayable, to be fair.
Yeah,
So
because he gets a nice lot of top spin, so you can imagine a ball kicking up on those indoor surfaces, and you're playing it almost chest high.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely fantastic, and we're looking forward. I mean, he's still part of the 21 and unders England squad, obviously so young, but we'll just see where we go with him and whether he's able to come to the World Cup in next year. So my kind of next question, I guess, is about school cricket. And there's obviously a big thing in the UK that a lot of the private schools obviously are able to play cricket. They have good coaches, obviously good facilities to do that. But in terms of the state schools, there isn't a lot of cricket happening, whether that be because of facilities or whether that be because of the coaching. Do you reckon a type of indoor, not necessarily our version, but an adapted version of cricket would be a good way to get younger people playing the game more?
100%. It cannot have a detrimental effect to young people starting in the game of cricket. And if that then develops into some of these guys going into join cricket clubs and being part of the All-Stars programs or joining a club and playing Colts cricket, it has to be. Any avenue I think we can get where we are getting guys engaged, whatever format it is, indoors, if you want to adapt the style of play. But with the challenges of where state school cricket is nationwide, I think, if we can get a brand of cricket. I know Chance to Shine and people like that do a very good job around quick cricket and stuff like that, but we still need more schools engaging in a cricket participation program, really.
Okay, brilliant. And obviously you're doing a lot of coaching right now. I'm obviously a coach myself, and one of the things that I find is that we get a lot of players playing the sport, and outdoor cricket as well, that are actually really good technically, or they've been watching a lot of cricket, so they know what they're trying to do and what they're trying to play. But strategically, they seem to come to us a bit underdeveloped. They're not quite sure about game plans and those kind of things about what they're trying to achieve exactly. So we're just thinking that a winter version of the game may potentially help with that as well. I mean, it's probably similar to the question I asked earlier about the schools, but does it have its role, do you reckon, in terms of helping with that side of cricket, the mental side?
Absolutely. Again, we talked about it with the indoor stuff. You still have to set plans. You still have to execute your skill, whether you're batting, bowling, or fielding. You still have to understand the strategy of the game. Now, you might be looking to paddle sweep it where there's no fielder behind square on the offside or whatever you're doing, or as a bowler, you're trying to, again, load one side of the wicket and bowl to that side. So and you're right, the strategic thought processes generally at junior levels don't match up quite often to their skill level. So actually, the more you can do this stuff and let them play, but then you still have to educate them post that. It's not particularly helpful if they go make those mistakes, but those mistakes aren't then highlighted in terms of development opportunities. So as long as you've got people around to say, listen, what were you trying to do there? Okay, did you think about this field? And would that field be more appropriate? And then you have that dialogue and you get the lad thinking. So I agree with you, Anish. It's definitely got a role to play.
Yeah, I mean, leading on from that, I mean, you remember back in the day, but obviously I've certainly found now that the one thing about indoor that I particularly love is the amount of pressure moments you have in one game. Obviously, we saw a great World Cup final, in 2019, where it went to a super over and it was a tie, and that pressure was there amongst the side. But obviously in outdoor cricket, that tends to happen, every so often right at the end of a game. And even in test cricket, we've seen it a bit more now that those things are happening where it's a pressure. But indoor, I find that there could be sometimes 6-7 moments a game which I like that, whether it's skin points or whether it's trying to make sure you don't lose a wicket so that the next pair can have some kind of advantage. So I find that there's lots more pressure moments. So certainly I think that surely has a role to play, just those things alone.
But the nature of the indoor cricket, because it's quite quick, it's fast paced. You bowl a ball, there's maybe a run out opportunity every other ball or whatever. So the speed of that game allows itself to have critical moments often, because there's always something happening. People are trying to scramble runs and you've got balls being thrown around the cage and whatever. So critical moments and dealing with critical moments come thick and fast in that game. And again, that has to be a positive to be able to accept the pressure of those moments when they come to a big game outdoors.
Okay, awesome. And the last couple of things, really. I mean, I'm enjoying this, but in terms of spin, obviously you were a left arm bowler, a tremendous amount of wickets. I mean, you played Test cricket, which is probably every kid's dream. What we found is that lots of the young players now in the Super League, which is our highest format that we have, they dominate. The spinners dominate in indoor cricket, whether it's be that the pitch is conducive to spin or the bounce that they get.
Yeah.
Have you got any kind of advice that you'd offer any 12 to 17-year-olds that may be looking to make it professional outdoors about what to do when they're bowling as spin bowlers?
For me, resilience is a really key part of being a spinner and developing spinner. And then I think it's the opportunity to play at different levels. So whatever age you are you playing enough cricket that challenges you, but not too much? Are you playing enough cricket where you can dominate, but not too much? And are you playing a good chunk of it where you're in the middle and you have days of success and failure? And I think having a broad spectrum of your own cricket play, if I went to every game and dominated as an under 13 or under 14, my enjoyment level, my learning factor disappears. But if I actually win a few games, but then go and play at the under 16s and actually struggle, then you've got a balance of learning how to win games, but also learning to deal with success or with adversity and stuff like that. So those are my bits of advice, really. Be a resilient person. There'll always be setbacks as a spinner. You'll get hit out of the ground from time to time, but also just make sure that you're playing enough of a broad spectrum of that.
So I one thing that I've heard a lot of, just playing cricket and stuff, is just telling young spinners just to spin it, just rip it, try and spin it as much as you can. Are you a fan of that? Is that?
Well, I would go a little bit further and say, what do you want to be? What's your identity as a spinner? Yes, spin it, obviously spin it. But actually, do you know what? Anil Kumble didn't spin it like Shane Warne, and they're both pretty good bowlers. So are you someone who's incredibly accurate and can cause problems through accuracy, or are you someone who spins it hard? Now, if you do both, brilliant. But, actually, firstly, find your identity. You might be someone who tries to spin it and loses control way too much.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, then can you be more accurate? You can win it both ways. So it's just probably getting an identity.
Cool. So that's kind of my questions about indoor. I'm kind of interested about you now, what you're up to in your life at the minute, and obviously you're still involved in Kent. But what else are you doing?
Well, lockdown's been a challenge because we haven't been able to get any recreational coaching done in the pathway. The pros and the academy players are back, but I'm not involved in that because we're keeping it quite a sort of a small bubble in terms of mitigating the chance of risks and infections. So from my own point of view, I'm busy with my level 4. I'm busy with various parts of the pathway role at Kent that doesn't involve coaching. So it's organising potential fixtures, meetings with the various other academy directors, and plotting what this summer might look like if we get out of the COVID situation.
Brilliant. No, that's good. And then I've seen Online Cricket Academy. Is that something that you're doing at the minute? Is that something our viewers can check in while they're at home and in lockdown?
Yeah, so Online Cricket Academy, there's some really good coaches down here in the Tunbridge Wells area, Invicta coaching group, and they do a lot of area program cricket in Medway down to Tunbridge Wells. So I think what they've done is actually during this, they've come up with the idea of doing online sort of master classes, but at various levels. So you pitch it where you pitch it, and they've asked me to be involved on the spin front, and absolutely delighted to help them guys out, and a very good coaching group.
Okay, guys. So the viewers at home, that's the Online Cricket Coaching Academy. Have a look at it on Insta and Facebook. I'm sure there'll be some things to help you all out there. Yeah, like you said, man, during this lockdown, it's given us more time to do other things that we probably didn't have time to do before. I mean, one of the big things that we're working on as an organization is our Grow the Game campaign. It's something new. Obviously, the thing about tension net cages, they're not readily accessible. They're not all over the country anymore. So we're looking to find centres that are willing to, or looking to just maybe diversify slightly, run some leagues themselves in the winter. So that's basically where we're heading as an organisation with that campaign, and we're trying to find one in every county. Really, that's the next step for us.
Absolutely brilliant. I wish you guys all the success with that. That's be a fantastic thing to get off the ground if you get one in each of the counties. And as I said to you earlier, my experiences of indoor cricket, I think, really benefited my critical learning curve really at 16 to 19 probably. So I encourage as many young kids to potentially get out and find one of these centres.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Min.
My pleasure.